My dad didn't mean to leave the line open. I had called from my grandmother's kitchen, asking about a small piece of paperwork, when the rustle of his jacket came through, followed by my mother's voice, and then his. Clear as day. She's a burden. Always has been. I froze. My hands stayed on the drawer I'd been searching through. They laughed softly, talking about plans I was never meant to hear, plans revolving around the house my grandmother had left me. I didn't interrupt. I didn't call back. I stayed quiet, but only long enough to decide exactly how this story would end. Growing up, I learned early that love in our house came with conditions. Our place sat on a narrow street in a working-class suburb outside the city. Peeling paint, thin walls, and a kitchen table that rocked no matter how many times my dad wedged cardboard under the leg. Harold and Marilyn called it home. But it never felt like one. Every argument, every slammed cabinet, every reminder of what they'd sacrificed sank into the floorboards like smoke. You think we have money to burn? My dad would snap whenever I needed something for school. Be grateful we keep a roof over your head. I tried to be. But every Friday afternoon, I watched the clock until I could escape to Grandma Loren's house across town. Quiet street, wide porch, and a garden that always smelled faintly of lavender and warm soil. She'd meet me at the door with a hug that didn't tighten when I breathed. She'd ask about my week like the answer mattered. Her home felt like air after being underwater. There I learned gentleness wasn't weakness. Silence didn't have to be sharp. She taught me to plant flowers, to budget, to build a life brick by brick. You're capable, Annabelle, she'd say. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. When she passed unexpectedly, the grief hollowed me out. The reading of her will shook everyone else. She left me the house, a fully paid property worth close to $900,000, and left my parents a small cash amount they burned through in weeks. After that, they started calling my place the family home, as if the deed were merely a suggestion. My mother walked through rooms, critiquing paint colors I'd chosen. My father dragged his old recliner into the living room and planted it like a flag. I told myself they were grieving. I told myself letting them stay a little while was the right thing. Little while became years. They never contributed a cent to the bills or maintenance, but they always had opinions. They talked about renovations I never agreed to. They dropped hints about how some families share everything. And when they planned their dream trip to Europe, they floated the idea of using the house's equity to fund it. You're doing well, my mother said lightly. It's time you give back. I didn't take a loan for them, but I did pay for most of their trip out of guilt, so old it felt like instinct. They left the country smiling. I stayed home, trying to believe that generosity wasn't the same as being used. The day everything shifted was painfully ordinary. I came home to a slow drip under the kitchen sink, a leak my dad swore he'd fixed. I needed the warranty information for the faucet, so I called him. Just a simple, practical question. He answered from somewhere, loud clinking glasses. Laughter. We're heading to dinner, he said, irritated I'd interrupted. Check the drawer in the den. I thanked him, told him to enjoy his night. Then came the rustle of fabric. Footsteps. My mother's voice. I waited for the click. There should have been a click. Instead, I heard, "Who was that?" Annabelle, he said, like the name itself exhausted him. Always something wrong with the house. My breath caught. Well, my mother sighed. That's what happens when she gets handed a home she didn't earn. Your mother should have left it to us. We would have used it wisely. My hand gripped the counter. My father's voice sharpened. Once we're back, we're going to sit her down about our retirement. She needs to understand the house is our future. It's ridiculous it's only in her name. My chest tightened. Then my mother whispered, not softly enough. She feels guilty so easily. Just push a little. She sign whatever we need. Mention doctor bills. That always gets her. My stomach dropped. That wasn't concern. That was strategy. And if she resists, my father added, remind her what we sacrificed. She owes us. By next year, the deed will have our names on it. My ears rang. Then came the final blow. She's always been a burden, he said. From the moment she was born. They laughed. Something inside me snapped. The clean break of a bone. I don't remember hanging up. I only remember sinking to the kitchen floor while the faucet dripped slowly beside me. Every guilt trip. Every criticized choice. Every sacrifice they weaponized. None of it had been love. It had been leverage. I wiped my face, stood, and opened my laptop. I didn't scream. I didn't confront. I began to plan. For 3 days I moved like a shadow. Then I called Vivian Hale, a family property attorney I trusted. You are under no legal obligation to house your parents, she said calmly. The property is yours. Their residency gives them no ownership. Those words opened a window in a room I'd been suffocating in. Next, I called Ethan Shaw, a colleague. I need a discreet sale. Fast. I can get you around 980, he said. Exactly what I needed. I sorted the house into 3 categories. Mine. Theirs. Uncertain. I rented a storage unit under their names and paid 6 months upfront. A moving team handled everything. Then I packed my own life into boxes and moved 2 hours away. When the truck pulled away, I didn't look back. My parents returned from Europe 2 weeks later. Mrs. Dawson, my neighbor, texted me. They're here. I sat in my new apartment, hands shaking. I knew exactly what was happening. They'd pull into the driveway. They'd laugh. They'd try the door. The key wouldn't turn. Later, my voicemail lit up with messages, confusion, anger, threats, excuses. Then came the one I expected. A burden? Did this? Really? Expect a lawyer. I didn't respond. The next morning, they appeared at my office, yelling. Security escorted them out. My boss told me to take all the time I needed. That evening, my new number rang. Tomorrow. 10 a.m. Maple Street Caf. My father barked. If you don't show, we're coming to your workplace again. So, I showed up, but not as the daughter they thought they controlled. I showed up as the woman who finally learned to protect herself. I arrived late on purpose. They were already furious. What did you do to our home? My mother cried. It was never your home, I said softly. My father leaned forward. You misunderstood. We were discussing. I tapped my phone and played the recording. They turned pale. How dare you record us? My father snapped. You called me, I said. You forgot to hang up. I let their own words fill the space. When it ended, I spoke clearly. No more money. No more support. If you contact my workplace again, I'll take legal action. If you show up at my home, I'll call security. You can't cut us out, my father hissed. I'm not cutting you out, I said, standing. You pushed me out a long time ago. I'm just finally walking away. My mother whispered, Where will we go? What are we supposed to do? That, I said, is something you'll have to figure out on your own. I walked away without looking back. In the weeks that followed, silence settled over my life, heavy at first, then peaceful. My new townhouse was smaller, but it was mine. No tension, no guilt, no emotional landmines. Therapy helped me name the things I'd lived through. Financial abuse, manipulation, coercive guilt. Naming them didn't erase them, but it stripped them of their power. A year later, I stood in my new garden, smaller than my grandmother's, but blooming. For the first time, my life felt like it finally fit. Peace didn't come from fixing them. It came from choosing myself. If you've ever had to walk away to protect your well-being, you're not alone. Share your story in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.